There's 40 to 50 games released on Steam each day. Some of them are diamonds in the rough, while others not so much. Of course, we mostly care about the horror titles, right? Wouldn't it be neat if I sorted through new releases in search of gems? And of course, naturally, rank them as well. It's YouTube, gotta rank everything. And because I am me, the tiers I'll be assigning these 6 games to are my F&G, get a defib, be right back, going to clean my underwear, okay as a game and kind of scary, okay as a game and not scary at all, and not gonna lie, get this off my PC. And as an added bonus, whatever the best game ends up being, I'll give it a nice little Steam review. The games only have to follow these 2 rules. 1, it needs to be horror, obviously, and 2, the release date can be no older than a week. 7 full days, not 5 business days, just so we're clear, but I'm sure you already knew that. First up, and the game I was most excited to play, Catacomb. There's really no story, you're just kind of placed in catacombs. That's not a bad thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's kind of got like the body cam thing going on. I'm exploring the catacombs, trying to get a little feel of what I need to do, how the game's gonna feel, how it's gonna play. Looking back, I really should have seen this coming at some point, but I got scared pretty bad. So after I recovered from that, I kept going through the catacombs and not a whole lot was happening. For a while, nothing happens, but then I see these 2 little glowing red eyes pop out, like someone's watching me from around a corner. I saw the monster in the promotional material. I knew he was there. I knew he was going to be in there. I just didn't know when. So, of course, I had to go find him. I tried to escape the room, but the gate had other plans. Get to another big room, and I wasn't entirely sure what I was supposed to be doing. I kept going around corners and they mostly looked the same until it didn't anymore. Yeah, that might be the biggest jump scare I've had in a while. Again, I should be expecting these things, and I am, kind of, but they still managed to get me, so this must be pretty good game design, right? I'm definitely not just more scared than I think I am. It's game design, right? It's game design. There's the monster again. He's got a chainsaw. I don't know why I thought I was going to be able to juke him out the first time, but he ended up breaking my ankles, amongst other things. So once I figured out that you just have to sprint straight and not try to go around them for some dumb reason, there's a puzzle where you have to connect the right colored wires to open the door. And there's blobs of paint all over the room to tell you which wires go together, but I'll be honest with you, it was quicker for me to guess, because they light up when you get it right. And I'm given a gun, so, you know, obviously something's about to happen. That's right. We are shooting zombies now. I kept going until I got to this big room where multiple zombies were chasing me at that point, but I couldn't really figure out where to go, and it was kind of feeling like it was time to move on to the next game. So I did. So judging this as a horror game, I'm gonna have to put this one in oh my F&G, get me a defib. There were not a ton of them, but there was definitely more than one time where I got the shit scared out of me. So the next game is called Sanity Break. You're basically, I guess, a sleeper agent activated by an organization to go retrieve their sensitive data from different locations. You have to build your character like an RPG while maintaining your sanity like a survival horror game. Sounds really cool, really G, right? So before you start the missions, you have to select a suit. I just went with the Journeyman because it was the most balanced one, and I really had no idea what I was going to be doing. As expected, I get these really cool retro looking graphics. I love this kind of thing. So the objective of the mission is to destroy certain objects, which the vendor on each level tells you which object holds the information you need to recover. Avoid being taken out by an entity. And also there are mimics that can disguise themselves as entities, and as far as I know, there's no way to tell which object is a mimic and which object is an actual object, which is how I got my first death. I didn't love that. So I liked the RPG style. I liked the retro graphics and visuals. I even liked that if you didn't keep your flashlight alive at all times, you slowly started to slip into insanity. What I didn't like was the seemingly sudden deaths. At least that I didn't notice. At least none that I noticed. There was no warning whatsoever. So I didn't make it far through this game. This is going to be the first entry in the not gonna lie, get this off my PC tier. So I'm not trying to tear anybody down, just grading purely on horror aspects and how much I enjoyed it. Somebody else might have a better time. Give it a try. Up next is Spirit Catcher 93. If I'm being honest, I wasn't expecting a whole lot from this game. I just really liked the retro look, like the last one. As they say, looks can be deceiving, but not in the same way that the last one was. This was actually a pretty good one. I'm not even gonna make you wait to find out if I liked it. This one was actually a pretty good time. You awaken as a fragmented soul. From what I gathered from playing the game, you're somehow like a consciousness. You're a soul that was uploaded into some kind of computer system. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Walking through the first floor of this building that looked like a hotel, I kept coming across these, like, I guess they were spirits. This one was really obsessed with head lice, or head mice, maybe headlights. Biggest jump scare that I at least got to play through to is this guy just popping up and speaking really loud. And if you're a headphone user, that hurts just a bit. So the first time I encountered this spirit on the first floor, I immediately captured it, and I didn't realize what I was doing at the time because I hadn't even made it far enough to get my spirit catcher, which was only right down the hall. Yes, I did say first time because, long story short, I had to stop recording the first time I played. When I came back, I couldn't figure out why the spirit wasn't coming back. I tried to get on the elevator and it wasn't working. It wasn't a bug, I just wasn't being patient enough. Or maybe I just wasn't hitting the right button. Probably both. But these little glowing floppy disks, you take them to a PC, it allows you to open files, which gives you hints to what you're supposed to do next. And one of the first disks that I picked up, it had a file containing the password and the command that I needed to use to open the security room door. I'm not sure who was managing the hotel, but I think it's pretty obvious why everyone here is dead. So is the game really good, or am I just a giant nerd who uses Linux? And the terminal commands were really cool. Such a simple concept for puzzle solving, but I really liked it. On my second time playing through the first level, I did everything in the order that I'm pretty sure you were supposed to do it in. Went to the terminal at the front desk, opened the security door, and then I got my spirit catcher. Now, I did not know what the spirit catcher was gonna look like. It was a gun. It was a gun. Did you expect this to be a gun? I caught the spirit again after restarting multiple times, thinking there was a bug. Not a knock on the game, just myself. Then I made it up to the second floor, and this first room was full of other rooms. It was kind of a weird layout, honestly. You kind of piece together more of the story here, and that's when you really start to find out that you're some scientist that was working with this other guy to be able to upload souls to the system. I think. I could be totally wrong. And then I got my first unexpected death. You know, I didn't notice it the first time, but apparently there's some spirit demon. There's a demon that's following you around. He managed to sneak up on me. When I made it back up to that level, I decided to just skip that room, and I made it into another room where you have to adjust the electrical output of, I think they were generators, but you had to adjust them and get them all to specific numbers. And before I could finish that, I was grabbed by the same ghoulie again. Xbox reference. So sticking with what I did with the last two games, judging this solely as a horror game, I honestly kind of hate that I set the tiers up this way now, but I'm gonna have to put this in the okay as a game and kind of scary tier. I gotta be honest with you though, friend to friend, this one might be taking a crown. Next, we got Monkey Jump. This one really didn't look too scary, but to be real with you, the pickings were slim, and just keeping it a stack. There weren't that many games to choose from, and this was one of the more fun looking ones. I want to start off by saying it's early access, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. This could still very much end up being a fun game. You know, I obviously wasn't expecting the same experience that I got from the first games. That's fine. What wasn't fine was what felt like I was just running around for no reason. I was looking for 7 bananas, but they were somehow pretty hard to find, which, yeah, is kind of the point, but there wasn't really like many places to hide them, if that makes sense. Love a dimly lit horror game as much as the next person. I was running around in the dark for a while and nothing seemed to be happening until I ran into the first monster. Kind of caught me off guard, but it didn't really scare me. As soon as I started considering turning the game off, that was a little bit underwhelming. Turn around to leave a room and there's the wolf, because of course. I didn't want to just write it off though. I wanted to give it another chance. I did end up finding a banana this time, and I also kind of made it a point to look for the wolf to get it to chase me again, just to see how far it would go. Maybe this was a bug or it was supposed to stop, but it got stuck on the stairs, and I went back down to see if it would follow me again, and it did. But when I went back up the stairs a second time, it just disappeared. So at that point, I wasn't really feeling it anymore. It was time to move on to the next potential gym. Made with multiplayer in mind, and it is early access, so I don't want to dump on it, but for the purposes of this, I unfortunately am going to have to put this in. Not gonna lie, get this off my PC. I have a confession to make, Mr. E-Gang. Wait, wrong group. Wrong group of people. I have a confession to make, CDC. That sounds even worse. I have a confession to make to you. I've never played Lethal Company or Repo, I know, blasphemous. But I have a pretty good feeling that this next game is heavily inspired by one or both of those games. This game is called Dollhouse of Dead. Again, no real story, but the goal is pretty simple. You go into toy factories, finding junk, take that junk to a central location to trade it in. Lethal Company, right? And Repo, I guess. I don't know. Why do you expect me to know? I never played them. Still love you though. I selected the character that best represents me, bored and unenthused. I'm not as familiar with commonly used assets in horror games, but right off the bat I noticed one, because it's the same damn thing that haunts you in the last game that I'm going to be playing. So you're hunting around for junk and key items. These little jack wagons exist for nothing other than to steal. Well, they do kill you. They can kill you, but they also steal your stuff, which you can just take right back from them, but they can steal your stuff. Yeah. You weren't expecting that, were you? Neither was I. Never would have thought to look up. Apparently it's a different layout every time you have to revisit the factory. So I find the first vault to get the crystal, and I'm anxiously waiting for that big doll on stage to pull a Freddy Fazbear. Luckily that never happened. So this damn doll makes its second appearance, and it's running around with a knife. Got myself a taser. You know, you're not gonna run at me with a knife and expect not to get hit with something. So I make it down to the second level of the factory, and I see me. Very convincing, but I was playing by myself, so I had a pretty good idea that it was going to be a mimic. He still got me. He was faster than I thought he was going to be. Then I go back down there to claim my gem in my body, and he's there again, but this time he's copying my voice. He's trying to sound like me. Buddy, I'm not. I'm playing by myself. I'm very aware of what my voice sounds like. Didn't matter though, because Discount Sheriff Woody was there to shoot me once I got my body and my gem back. Animatronics that can shoot. Not sure how I feel about that, honestly. So I decided to give it one more shot and load back in, see how far I can make it. And look at that. What are you even supposed to do with that? I almost let my intrusive thoughts win and tried to attack it, but I really didn't feel like respawning again. I was getting sick of this rabbit running up to me every time I ran into a building, so knocked his ass out. Naturally, I went to shred his body. That is a goal in the game. I'm not some sort of psycho. I start making my way through the building again and see this Jack in the Box, and obviously he's gonna pop out, but I wasn't expecting the creepy fuck to follow me. So I didn't really play much longer after that. I found one gem, and then I decided it was time to move on to the next game. And it never really scared me, but it had me fearful of death for sure. So I'm gonna put this one in okay as a game and kind of scary. So this last game probably has the scariest premise of all of them. You're working a new job, full-time employment, terrifying. So I start the game and I get the most violent flashbang of my life from an email. First night, just packing a few orders, tedious, but you know, I expected that obviously. And surprisingly, nothing happened. Well, actually, something did happen. The lights went out, but you just walk into the room and turn them back on. You pack a couple more orders and then you're done for that night. After night one, you're thrown into the most bizarre cutscene I have ever seen. Totally unexplained, but yeah. Who are these people? Why did they just turn to dust? Question was not answered. I left the cutscene more confused than I was to start the cutscene. Getting back to work the next night, and the doll has moved. Honestly, easily explainable because, I'm working night shift. There are people there in the day. Didn't think much of it, kind of talked a little shit. Start processing orders, flashbang by another email, a more ominous one, telling me things are not normal there, but I guess they don't value my life all that much because they didn't give me any details whatsoever. In fact, they told me to wait for more. You're emailing me, man, just tell me. After packing some more orders, that's the end of night 2. Surprisingly, no weird cutscene for night 3. Get back to work, go flip the power and the lights on, and the doll's still in the closet for some reason. Talk a little more shit to it. Get to work packing orders, this time with some candy thrown in there. The day felt much shorter. The doll just disappears when you turn the power off. But then you come out into the hallway and you see it. I say that was cheap, but really, I was just kind of embarrassed of myself. I used to pride myself on not being scared by jump scares. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. I did a couple more nights and it was purely just packing toys and candy and running to the stock rooms to get more. I got bored. Maybe it's just not my kind of game. With none of the horror stuff happening through large gaps of the game, I just really wasn't interested anymore. I expected the game to be tedious, so I'm not going to knock it too much for that because there are people who like those kinds of games. So as a horror game, there was some creepiness to it, but the jump scare was honestly pretty great. They did a good job building up a pattern of the doll never doing anything to you, just running away or moving, just to break it and make you shit yourself. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be putting this one in the gotta clean my underwear tier. This one's gonna go in okay and kinda scary. Who's taking the crown as the scariest and who's taking the crown as the best overall? Honestly, you could probably guess already, but I'm still gonna act like you don't know. The winner of scariest is gonna go to Catacomb. That game, what else was I gonna give it to? That game literally made me feel like my heart stopped at one point. And the crown for best overall game goes to Spirit Catcher 93. You're getting a Steam review. I decided to try out some new releases. This game did not disappoint. I may be slightly biased as a Linux user, but the terminal commands for puzzle solving is a nice touch. I love the retro look. I can't say it's super scary, but there are suspenseful moments and some nice unexpected moments. You should give it a try if you're into creepy stuff. So that brings it into my first Steam horror game dumpster dive. I'm planning on doing a Christmas themed one, not yet. Gotta get a little bit closer. A little bit. So what other games do you have in mind for me to play and rank? I'd love to try them out. But as usual, join the club. Watch out for those wet bandits. It's that time of the year. It's getting real close. Peace, twin.